After that, we show our gratitude to all those that make the Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation possible. To all of our members, our individual members, our corporate members, our partner institutions, senior partner institutions, sorry, special partner institutions and senior special partner institutions, without whom we would not be here today. The Agribusiness and Countryside Development Foundation is in partnership with the Management Association of the Philippines. And it is only through your generosity and support that we're able to bring you our sessions, now every 2 weeks, where we dialogue and discuss possible opportunities for agribusiness and countryside development in the Philippines. And with that, it is my sincere pleasure to welcome our speaker for this morning, Mr. Bien Nito. He's here right now. Thank you very much for joining us. I know it's incredibly bright and early, and I see you've even dressed up quite a lot for for our dialogue this morning. Thank you very much for joining us. Anyway, I'd like to now call on our chairman, Mr. Ernie Ordonez, to please introduce our speaker for this morning. Ernie.
Yes, good morning to all, especially to Bienvenido. Nito works with the University of Asia of the Pacific, a fantastic organization that's great in business and social development. We were very pleased because Bienvenido is the one who walks his talk. He's the president of Nitobe Consulting. And then we give you three aspects. First, what does he do and to whom does he do it, right? The first thing is he does business development. He goes someplace and then he looks at business to create jobs. But if you develop business and don't have projects done well, it still falls. He goes into not only business development, also projects. He does projects. But the final thing, which is very important for us today, he does capacity building. When things are not ready, he makes them capable. That's fantastic. Now, the question is, who does he give these services to? He gives them to different groups. He could have gone to IBM or Globe Telecom. Instead, he's devoted his life to helping the less privileged, and CRC is known for that. Incidentally, Mr. Bienvenido, I've met you before. I'm your admirer. And you're with this group, right? UAP, or it's CRC formerly. And he goes to who? Does he go to rich corporations? Maybe he does, but it's also oriented to his target. What are the targets? Cooperatives, which is the main subject today. Cooperatives. And I've been researching this very well because it went from 0 to 190 million to 170 million. And, that's so small because Thailand, it's called Ministry of Agriculture and cooperatives. Here it's Ministry of Agriculture, and our cooperatives are in a shambles right now. And he goes to co-ops. He also goes to organizations, right? Not just cooperative organizations, because sometimes the correct form is not a cooperative, it's an organization. Then he goes to the critical point in agriculture, the LGUs, for God's sake. They are really the ones that can spur us, not so much the Manila departments, but the LGUs. And finally goes to communities, all communities. So I'd like to say, Mr. Nito, I'd like to say this. Our objective, as our department chair says, and actually carried by Bernie, who's with us today. Bernie is the one who carries everything up to now, even though she's not formally associated anymore, paid because she's gone wiser and is retired. We'd like to say this. He said, when you have those forums, Ernie, make sure they're just not educational things to entertain or enlighten people. Of course, that's good. I want you to make sure that after the forum, you work and you connect. And so, Mr. Nito, when you talk, please include two things. Number one, include how we, your audience, can help you. We're not young students. We are, however, younger than before. Usually our board was all over 60. Now 80% are below 40, 48, right? They're young. And the audience has changed, right? Mostly men, now it's 50%. Well, 60% women, men, 40% women. It now goes to 600 people, a month, 600 different people a month worldwide. It used to be 35. I compliment, I won't anymore talk about the youth as I was told by the board. We are really cross-generational. But before we're kind of older generation, now we're cross-generational. We have one half is women and one half is less than 48, etc. So we've done that. No? So please tell us how we, your audience, can propel what we can do to do what the chairman said. You're not here just to talk, you're here to transform, help poverty reduction. And the second thing I'd like to do is I want you to tell us 5 minutes about yourself. So we went to connect, right? I mean, how did you get involved here? Why did you choose this instead of working for a big corporation and all that? Did you learn it as a child? Give us a personal insight into you as a person, because we want to meet you know you personally, because we intend to work with you after this forum. And the 600 people nationwide or worldwide would like to hear, what made you do what you do? What makes you walk your talk, right? But before everything else, can you use your phone number? Because we want to call you from all over the world. Could you give us your number, even your office number? Could you give us verbally, not just chat box, verbally? Could you start with your phone number, Senor Nito? What is your Bien Nito? What is your number, please? Even office number.
My cell phone number is 0956 965 7992.
Okay, I'll repeat it. For all those of you, take out your
I'd
pens.
like to repeat that. Yeah.
Okay, please. Well, let me repeat it for you so I also get it straight, right? Okay. Bienvenido says his number. First of all, you're generous. Some people just give their office numbers. They don't want to be bothered. But he'll be bothered. Just don't call him at midnight, right? Okay.
Yeah.
His number is
0956
okay. 965
965 7992.
Okay, I repeat. 0956 965 7992. On
That's
that,
correct.
Hopeful
That's
Note
correct.
is coming out with his personal phone.
Sir
Yes.
Ernie, I have a limitation. My phone is not always with me, so it took me it will take me usually 1 hour or two before I look at the phone and answer or respond. So
Well,
just leave a note. It's okay.
the text, yeah.
If it's okay.
Well, that's good news. That means you're very busy. You're in demand. Very good. Okay, so start with 5 to 10 minutes about yourself, how you got into this. Then go into your...
I am a special lecturer now at the Department of Cooperatives and Social Development at the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. So since the last 5 years when I retired from UANP, although I assist Dr. Villegas every now and then on organizing the forums, like last week, we had this forum on skills development strategy. And that was in PCCI and TESTA and the TechBook and many groups. And then last year was the Coconut Industry Forum. So I assist Dr. Villegas in organizing them, linking them, him. But, well, I worked with Dr. Villegas in CRC for quite some time. I was with CRC for more than 2 decades, and I was with the School of Economics, and I saw cooperative as applied economics. So that's why I get interested into this. And when for a time after teaching in UP, I was in UP Tacloban for a time, and returned to the metro, I saw the need to start a small business, and I saw cooperative as a partner of a small business. I got involved with the cooperatives, and I saw the National Federation of Cooperatives. I was in the council of the Philippine Federation of Credit Cooperative for a time, when and CRC saw the need for my involvement, and they invited me because they were being assisted with the Hans Seidel Foundation, and I have to implement the projects that the Hans Seidel Foundation wanted to do for the countryside.
Wow.
So I was organizing forums and seminars and training in partnership with Land Bank at the time and Hans Seidel Foundation. So I got involved with them.
Wow, great background. Okay, we look forward to your talk now, especially cooperatives. They say are the solution, but they're not implemented well. And with your actual background and your extensive experience and your wisdom, because I know all about you, please proceed.
Well, good morning, everyone. Well, I guess
Morning.
you wanted to say something.
Sorry. Yeah. Before we
Julius.
begin, hi, Bien. Sorry, and again, thank you very much for joining us this morning. Just before we start, I wanted to mention that today's session will be a little bit different. Today's session will be more of a dialogue between us and Bien. So we have the benefit of learning from your years of experience trying to work with cooperatives, and it's a very interesting. What do you call this? very interesting perspective to talk about cooperative development as applied economics. So I think that's a very good way forward. I believe you have a short presentation and a video that you'd like to show us, and then after that,
Yeah,
we
the flow of this, which we can cut if you saw the need to clarify some of the things. So I'd like to introduce a brief concept, and then I will show you the video of a case of a
Mhm.
cooperative that I am more or less enamored. I'm so impressed with the performance of this cooperative, which which I would like to share with you. And then the succeeding slides that I prepared would be more or less an elaboration of that what the cooperative has accomplished or how they responded to the needs of the constituent. This cooperative that I will show later on is a cooperative with about 140,000 members, and they
Mhm.
started in a barangay in Pinamungahan, Cebu, in Lamak.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Okay.
and then they're all over the Visayas already. So later on, you will see this case
Okay.
of this cooperative that I prepared for a short video.
Okay.
Because I guess the picture speaks 1,000 words. Aside from the things that I will share with you, I'm sure you will get a lot of things that I wanted to advocate later on based
Okay.
on this video. So I'd
Okay.
like to
Mr.
start.
President, Mr. President, may I just say something? We want to have room for interaction. So can you do all of that within 20 minutes so that we have half an hour for interaction? Yeah.
Well, the
Having
video
1
will be
hour
about
talk.
20 minutes.
Oh
The
my
video
God.
will be about 20 minutes though,
And how many
because
minutes of the
it will tell you a lot, everything
Very
that you
good. Okay.
wanted to ask.
That's fine. Okay. In addition to 20, can you get the remarks about 10 minutes so that you can
Yeah,
open?
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Then I'm open forum. Okay, thank you. That's great.
Yes.
Great. Beautiful. Yeah.
We can
Okay.
cut short, no problem. I'd rather ask you ask questions than me telling you, because I'm sure you know a lot of the things that I will share with you, but I just wanted to share with you the points that made me really enjoy what I'm doing.
Oh,
Okay.
great. Thank you. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
Please go
so
ahead.
I guess we can just I will not more or less define it as written in the in the slides, but I will just highlight what it meant for us to digest and to talk about and maybe to relate with. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Please go
Vivian,
ahead.
can
Yeah.
you just start the slide? Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Morning, everyone. No, no, I'm referring now to the first few slides. First, go back to the first few slides. Sorry for that. Just to have a frame. Okay, so this is well, the title. Go ahead. Next, please. Next. So essentially, this is the way the law defines it. Okay, I will not elaborate on this. What it meant is essentially is that it's a self-help organization, registered. But what is common here is that these people, they wanted to respond to their needs, but they have to have a common bond. Okay? But they are guided by this, the last line, the universally accepted cooperative principles. Okay, go ahead. Next, please. So, but what I wanted to bring to this table is the idea that the cooperative is a social business, which means it responds to a social purpose, that that it responds to a social problem, like a market failure, like prices unnecessarily uh, very high, or goods are not available. And then it wanted to address that quality of life that we want to have for our poor people. But then it has to be done with the business discipline, the way the private sector does it. Next, please. So in the process of being a social and a business organization, I both, while you has both complementary and supplementary activities have to be delivered in a business way. The one that responds to economic nature or requirements of the community or respond to the needs, the economic needs of the community, will normally they provide loans, they provide jobs, they are engaged in manufacturing, processing, they are into supply of inputs, they are into marketing of produce, and they provide logistical support. The social part would be responding to the needs of the family, like educational assistance, the need for consumer products, which are, well, affordable, somehow medical needs, housing needs, and memorial services, and support for retirement. So essentially, I just wanted to impress that you have to have a very clear idea that the cooperatives does both the complementary and the supplementary, the social and the business or the economic side of the needs of their constituents. Next, please. And this is now the, the video of the Islamic Multipurpose Cooperative, one of the uh, one of the successful partners of Land Bank. They are a Hall of Famer. Okay.
In 1973, 70 tenant tillers and small farmers formed the Samahang Nayon with the assistance of the Department of Local Government and Community Development, or DLGCD. In 1992, the organization was transformed and registered as a full-fledged multisectoral, multipurpose agricultural cooperative, now known as the Lamak Multipurpose Cooperative. Over the years, Lamak MPC has metamorphosed and is now one of the biggest and most diversified cooperative in the country. The hardships experienced by its 70 pioneering members is Lamak MPC's inspiration as it continued to endeavor by holistically responding to the empowerment needs of the vulnerable sector through its various socio-economic programs. From the initial membership of 70 farmers, Lamak MPC has now a total of 105,000 members from various sectors to include farmers and fisherfolks, micro-entrepreneurs, laborers, OFWs, SMEs, youth, women, PWDs, and senior citizens. The agri-sector takes around 60% of its total membership. Originating from a remote mountain barangay in southwestern Cebu, Lamak MPC is now in 49 branches and satellite offices, 32 of which are in Cebu, 6 in Bohol, 4 in Negros Occidental, 4 in Leyte, and 3 in Southern Leyte. The initial CBU of 3,500 pesos is now a huge 2.3 billion pesos assets To date, Lamac MPC has different clusters of farmers and fisherfolks actively participating in the Agro-Enterprise Development Program. Each cluster is composed of 10 to 15 farmers and elect from themselves 6 officers such as cluster leader, production coordinator, post-harvest coordinator, cluster secretary, cluster treasurer, and food safety officer to help monitor the food safety standards compliance, promote good decision-making, and practice shared leadership. In 2014, the vegetable farmer clusters were formed. They produce fresh and safe vegetables, program their planting and match the volume requirements of the market, while Lamac MPC consolidates and sells to its 110 institutional buyers. Even at the height of the pandemic, Lamac MPC continues to supply fresh vegetables to Cebuanos through the Kadiwa on Wheels program of the Department of Agriculture, which provided reefer van and hauling trucks that has helped sustain the enterprise of the vegetable clusters. Lamac MPC also ventured in cacao enterprise in partnership with Canimers and Land Bank, a cacao seedling nursery with a capacity to raise 600,000 cacao seedlings was established in Pandacan, Pinamungahan. Cacao farmer clusters were organized and a total of 500 hectares were planted. A total income of 14.30 million pesos was recorded for 2015 to 2019. For the processing of safe and quality tablea, a processing plant was established through the DTI Shared Service Facility. In 2015, the dairy farmer clusters in Toledo City and Pinamungahan was formed in partnership with the Philippine Carabao Center as it works to further provide additional income for farmers through dairy production. A dairy milk processing plant was also established through the DTI Shared Service Facility and assistance of PCC for the production of other dairy-based products. As a marketing facility, 2 dairy box outlets were set up. To further expand its market, Lamac MPC also partners with the DepEd through its daily milk feeding program, serving a total of 73,000 malnourished students in Cebu and Negros. The reefer van, provided by the Department of Agriculture, helps ensure the safety of the milk during delivery periods. Moving further, in 2017, the Cassava Farmers Cluster in Bugo, Cebu was also organized. DTI, through the SSF and the Department of Agriculture, provided for the facility on the cassava chips and granule processing and a warehouse. For market, Lamac MPC partners with San Miguel Food Incorporated for cassava granules and chips. Since Lamac MPC has proven to have excellent management capabilities and a good reputation of running a business enterprise, in 2015, the co-op was chosen as one of the PCA's partners in Kaanib AgroHub project to engage in coconut coir and allied product processing. Being new to the said enterprise, Lamac MPC expressed to PCA that while waiting for the hub project to materialize, they wanted to develop its technical and management capability of the said business venture, and thus, PCA provided one old rehabilitated and unused decorticating machine in 2017. PCA considered the cooperative as one of the beneficiaries of a one-set coir processing equipment plus technical assistance through skills trainings.
We love the project, and then we approached the PCA to help us na maglakbay-aral mi dito sa Mindanao, and it came out that, oh, it's really a good project. It's a zero waste. I can justify that cocoa is really a tree of life.
Lamac MPC purchased an 8-hectare lot in Colonia, Tuburan, Cebu for the Cocoa Hub processing facility, and coconut farmer clusters were then organized.
With the Historia, were able to purchase the lot.
The coir processing facility in Tuburan was fully operational in 2020. Aside from coir-based products, Lamac MPC has also diversified its coconut product lines by producing cocoa sugar, virgin coconut oil, and coconut water.
Sorry. Let me check.
We can end at that part because the
Okay.
other details would be just an expansion of that project. Of course, there's a very good case study who participated in that coconut cluster project, but we can elaborate on it later on.
Okay.
Maybe we can continue with the slides. We can return to it to show the last part if needed.
So while we're waiting, maybe you can talk to us a little bit about
Lamak.
yeah.
Well, essentially, towards the end, what is important that I think for our group is the idea of how Lamak started. Okay, as you see, the general manager was the barangay health worker at the time when she was younger, in the 70s. And then she saw the need for the people to work together. And so she tried to convince them that they have to form this Samahang Nayon in the beginning. Okay? Because imagine as a barangay health worker, it's really very challenging on their part to attend to the needs of the sick people. They have no access. Barangay Lamak in the town of Pinamungahan is really isolated. That place. It will maybe while it is in the border of some towns, but to go to the nearest access road is really very challenging. So they need this Carabao sledge, pulled sledge, so that they can bring the sick patient towards the nearest health facility. And it usually will take them an hour or so to bring the sick person. So that's why in the beginning, when they won the first award, what they did, well, to make sure that they have access to electricity. So they tried to do something to have a electricity wiring so that they can have access to electricity. Then eventually they pull themselves together and they work to provide road network that will link them to the nearest highway. So when you go, it's an isolated place, but now it's very popular because of the tourism, the the resource that they have prepared, that they have put there. But on the business side, what they focus on were really to provide this market linkage for the needs of the farmers. So initially, they really worked hard and they partnered with the Department of Agriculture. They did receive a lot of assistance from the Department of Agriculture at the time, and they were giving the right assistance. But the secret I found out in my study of this cooperative is that they were assisted from the very beginning by a management team. So that provided them all this management capability. So that's why it's called Blomes. That's the consulting team in the barangay, and it was formed because of that need. Blomes means Barangay Lamak Organization and Management Specialist, Education and Specialist. So it's an NGO that really partnered and provided the technical assistance of developing the management system for Lamak from the very beginning. So I guess in the organization of a cooperative, and I saw also that many of the small cooperatives are having a problem in really converting their operation or developing a management system for their operation. As I emphasized in my understanding of the cooperative, that a cooperative is a social business, which means it has a social purpose. It is supposed to contribute to the needs and the problems of the community. But eventually, it has to be run like a business. And this is where the management expertise has to come in.